Hey guys, my name is Trevor Connor. I am the founder of Hearts and Minds and the CEO of Hearts and Minds. We're a sports psychology based company and we help athletes all around the world with confidence, consistency, performing under pressure, and how to be the best athlete you possibly can be. We work a lot with teams, but also a lot with individuals. My understanding is you guys are working with Coach Johnson on this whole leadership curriculum. And one of the things that I look for is when athletes are engaging with these kinds of curriculum, I'm always checking about, okay, how do you apply this? Because it's one thing when you learn something, it's another thing when you learn it, but there's no application. There's no way to really implement this in real time. And we see that a lot in sports psychology. There's a lot of really great talking theories out there on energy management or visualization or improving your self talk. But the crux of it really comes down to, okay, well, can you use that in real time? Can you use that right now? And you see, feel, and impact or have an impact on your performance right now. Where we really plant our flag as a company is we really are focused on helping athletes be able to perform under pressure in real time and be able to use the skills that we teach and use it effectively in practice and in competition. So anyway, I've got my computer on the background here, and my goal here is I'm going to answer the questions that you guys have submitted, and then I'm just going to flow through them. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of energy, you know, doing a lot of background prep and research and stuff. And the reason why is because if I were joining you guys on the live call, you would expect real time answers. So I'm going to read these questions and I'm going to respond in real time off the cuff. Kind of hard to do because you guys have had time to prepare these questions. So I'll do the best I can, and this will be a uninterrupted clip. It's not going to be clipped up, like we see on social media and stuff. So, all right. First question was: when you have a teammate who is talented but lacks consistency, how do you hold them accountable without losing the locker room or creating a divide between the players? First question I have back to that question is: how do you build trust? See, trust is established at the soul level, the heart level. And a lot of times as an athlete, we're so focused on X's and O's, and we're so focused on doing, assignments, go to the weight room, completing that workout, doing these different things. But the problem is do we really trust each other? Because when you trust each other, you're willing to persevere, you're willing to do uncomfortable things consistently. How do you go back to the question? How do you hold them accountable without losing the locker room? Well, first of all, are you a leader? This is just a reflective question back to you. Are you a leader worth following? And if you say yes in your heart, I'm going to say prove it. How would you prove it? What does a worthy leader look like? What's a worthy leader feel like? Are you connecting with those that you're wishing to reach on a soul level? And you say, well, Trevor, what do you mean? What do you mean by that? I would challenge you to say it like this. I want you to be in a position where you have to build a bridge to the people that you're trying to reach as soul. Build a bridge, because when the bridge is strong, it can withstand the weight of truth. When the bridge is strong enough of trust between two people, or three, or four, or five, then you can deliver a hard or a firm, necessary truth and not break the bridge of trust. So that's why I started with trust. And then I moved to build a bridge to the soul. Well, what's that mean? Well, that means find what makes them tick. Find what motivates them. Find what excites them. Find what, gives them hope and encouragement. I think those are really great places to begin. Can you build a bridge to their soul, and can you impact them in a powerful way? Some athletes, they really struggle with that. They don't want to make time to go and get to know some of those people in the locker room. They just want to dictate, this is the culture, this is the environment, this is how we do it. I'm just telling you, there's a better way. Build a bridge to their soul. Are you a leader worth following? And if you say yes, prove it. Are you going to create a divide between players? This is kind of a follow up to that question. Without losing the locker room or creating a divide between players? Well, again, can the weight of truth be withstood on the bridge? It's up to you. Next question. How do I motivate a teammate that is very hard headed, negative, does not feel bad about giving their best to change because I know how good they can be? All right, off the cuff. I can't push a rope very far. This is kind of a coaching angle. And I'll bring it back to locker room. I can't push a rope very far. And if you're trying to develop and build a championship culture, there's a couple things that you really got to change and a couple of things that you really have to be consistent with. Your actions, your attitudes, your statements, your words, the emotion that you show, the consistency of you showing up. These are all very important things that help set the tone for culture. But let's come back to the question again. How do I motivate a teammate that's hard headed? I can't push a rope far. What's the opposite of push? Pull. So visualize you got a gym floor or a football field, even, and you got a big rope. Okay. Let's say that rope goes 100 yards long. It's really heavy, like 4, 5, 600 pounds heavy. I mean, it's heavy kind of rope. If you start at the goal line, how far do you think you can push that thing? A couple of yards, maybe. But I tell you what, the opposite is really powerful. I can pull that rope and I'm going to go somewhere. We have to, I say we, like I'm part of you guys, but we have to be in charge of setting the culture that we are going to be rope pullers, not pushers. The team and the culture is going in this direction. You got two choices. If you want to be part of the team, you get two choices. You can hang on to the rope and get pulled in this direction. Or number two, when you let go of the rope, you get rope burn. It's going to burn right through your hands. And that sucks. If you've ever felt that before, that hurts. It's painful. Regardless, there's an outcome there. You're either going to get pulled in a better direction or you're going to get burned. And I think sometimes as a team and a culture, we're constantly looking for silver bullets. Don't look for a silver bullet. You know, you're looking for how do you get rid of, or how do you speak to the hard head negative people, the people that don't want to change. Okay, once again, I'm not going to waste my time on them, and the reason is because I'm not going to pull, or I'm not going to push a rope. When you begin to push a rope, here's a deeper human concept here. When you begin to push a rope, you're violating free will. Well, what's free will? Free choice. You violate that, and when you violate free will, now they're not as motivated. Now they're motivated out of a level of guilt. I'm only doing that because Jacob told me I have to. I'm only doing that because Bob told me I have to. I'm only doing that because Sarah says, well, I have to do that. That is a very short-term motivation. It will work for 2 practices, but how do you change them? Go back to the first question. You got to build a bridge to their soul. You got to connect on a deeper level where they know that you're a worthy person to be trusted, not just because you care about my performance. On a deeper level, it's got to go deeper than that. Do you see me as a person and somebody that you actually care about me or not? Number 3, how do you get people to follow what you do as a leader? I know that there are multiple ways to lead. Like by example, by personality, being social? Is there a way that you experience this better than others? No. Be yourself. I'm gonna answer that one simple. Be yourself. The second that you try to operate out of something that is not you, you become a fraud. You become a fraud not just to them, but also to yourself. And the effects of that, we usually feel pretty instant. The whole concept of fake it till you make it stuff. I can tell you guys at the highest levels I work with, the professionals and the Olympians that I work with, like that doesn't hold up at the highest levels because you're going to crumble. You can't build a career doing that. So don't do it. My suggestion: find the leadership gifting and the skill set that you have. And by the way, just because you've been delegated as a leader, you might not be a leader in the context of the locker room, but you might be a really powerful leader in the context of the education or the academic side. You might be a really powerful, quiet leader that is like supportive and encouraging. Just because you have an L or a captain badge does not make you a leader at all. We have, as a culture and society, we have built leadership into this big thing of this is what a leader should be. This is what a leader should do. This is what, like, let's practice everyday leadership, the little things. Can I be a voice of encouragement to people? Can I challenge them to do a rep a little bit harder? Can I sit with somebody during lunch because they give the appearance of they're lonely? Can I, instead of going sitting with my friends, can I go sit with them at lunch? Can I instead of hanging out with my typical friends on a Friday, Saturday night, can I think about 2 or 3, 4 or 5 people in that locker room that's typically forgotten about and see if they want to go hang out during the day, go get an ice cream cone, go hang out, do something totally innocent, but like go spend time with them. It really comes down to, again, I'm going to keep pointing back, guys. It's the North Star right now. Build a bridge to the soul. Build a bridge. You got to be able to connect on a human to human level. Next question. How do you approach a player who is not buying into the program and is not taking the offseason as serious as they should be? What's the best way to get them where they want to be better themselves in the offseason? Ultimately, make them a more committed and better athlete. Build a bridge to the soul. Like, there it is again. How do you approach a player who's not buying into the program? I think at some level that's a coach's conversation that has to happen. When the trust is established, you can do things that we do in the military. That's like in the form of accountability groups. But that's pretty advanced stuff. I wouldn't recommend it unless extreme trust is there. Holding people accountable is really, I'm going to say, is one of the health metrics that I look for on championship culture teams. Are we able to hold each other accountable and not get butt hurt because I just got called out? Instead, we can take it, we can swallow, and we say, okay, cool, yeah. Pride goes before the fall. So when we're prideful and arrogant, saying, I'm good, shut up, I'm fine. Like, that's just pure pride and arrogance. Championship cultures are not built on that. They're built on humility and they're built on self-sacrifice, selflessness. They're also built on great communication and great trust. So these are priorities that I would look to establish in order to create the culture that you want. And like these types of questions about how do you approach people that's not buying in the program, those conversations get so much easier because trust is deeply firmly established. And by the way, there's some people, I don't know if you've experienced it or not, some people that no matter what coach says, no matter what you guys do, they're just not going to get on the game plan. And you want to know why? There might be 10 other things behind them that's 10 times more important in their life that they haven't told you about. You didn't hear the conversation mom and dad had last night that for the last week, mom and dad is worried about the bank is going to foreclose on their house. You didn't hear that conversation. So when little Johnny shows up at weight room and he's not committed to the program, in his mind, he says, screw football. I'm worried about not being homeless. What about little Johnny over here and says, you know what? I keep getting bullied. I keep getting picked on. I keep getting, picked on online. And little Johnny is thinking about that constantly in his head. And yet you want him to show up for weights and have a good attitude? Really hard when little Johnny's got all this other chaos and baggage behind here. I can give you a story and example. Let me give you one more. This one, I mean, let's just get real for a bit. Little Johnny back here has grandma, aunt, mom, dad, somebody close to him in his inner circle, and they have stage 4 terminal cancer. And he hasn't told anybody yet. Nobody knows about it. And you're worried about Johnny putting out, good workouts. The way that you reach Johnny is you have to build that bridge. You have to be able to connect with him on a human to human level to be able to get him or her, if we're dealing with females too, is like getting them to a place of vulnerability and trust where they feel they can trust and open up and share. So once that bridge is solid, that open communication flows and you can have a wonderful dialogue on how best to help him. People are carrying a lot of stuff, and social media has complicated this a lot. When I was growing up 25 years ago, it was not as heavy as it is now with what you guys have. But a lot of it has to do with these devices. A lot has to do with what you engage with. So my 2 cents for what it's worth is, again, you've got to get really, really good at being able to reach the heart of the people that you're trying to connect with. And if they don't get on your game plan, are you willing to let go? Remember, you can't push a rope far. Are you willing to let go? At some point, the coaches will need to step in and say, okay, hey, little Johnny, hey, you missed this. You're not committed. The guys are saying this. What say you? And little Johnny has a choice. Hey, do I get on board or not? And the coach is going to have to be able to draw the line and make that firm distinction of, okay, what happens next? That's out of your, as the athlete's hands. I would not carry that stress with you personally. Next way. Next question. How can I lead and be taken more seriously by teammates, and what things should I not be doing that can make me seem like someone to not take seriously? I think I mentioned it earlier, but are you currently, with the leadership that you're displaying, whoever that question is, currently, are you worthy to be followed? Are you a clown? Like, I read that and I'm like, dude, you're a clown. Maybe you are, maybe you're not. I don't know. And by the way, like, being a clown or being, being the funny, comic relief is awesome part of teams. Like, I was never that guy. I was always, my nickname in college, playing college baseball, was SF. So literally in the lineup card, they'd put me at, put right in my name, Trevor Connor, center field, number 9. And I'd be either hitting leadoff, I'd be hitting number 3. And then inevitably somebody would get the Sharpie and they would, like, one of the guys on the team, they'd write SF. SF stood for serious face. I was very serious. I'm a very intense competitor and I don't smile. That's just me. When it's game time, it's war. Like, get out of my way. I'm ready to compete. And I think what happens sometimes is athletes are trying to find where their mold is and who they are. So I would say this, I would find your natural personality and understand when is the time to be serious, when is the time to be playful, when is the time to make the comic relief jokes, and when's the time to, like, lock in mode and, like, hey, get to work. You got to know that balance. But the biggest thing I would tell you for who's ever question that is just make sure that you are not operating way outside your personality and norms. Because again, if you do, you run the risk of being an immediate fraud. All right, next one. How do you get people bought into the program even though they think they are above it? How do you get people bought in the program even though they think they are above it? Well, here's a really powerful one. Show me last year's championship trophy. I'll wait. Oh, even though we had some success. Okay, what about the year before? What about the year before that? If we are building a championship culture, show me the evidence. Oh, we don't have evidence? Okay, shut up. This is the playbook that we're running. It's our job to do the best that we can with it. So here's what I would tell you as a leader position, leaders, is to be fully committed to said mission, said playbook. Obviously, you can tweak it. Obviously, you can work together with coaches and be like, hey, we noticed this is working well. Hey, we noticed this is not working well. Coach, what say you? And coach is like, nope, this is the way. Okay, cool. Follow that. The coach is the coach for a reason. The athlete is the athlete for a reason. Your job as a leader, I would encourage you to follow that playbook the best that you possibly can and demonstrate the effectiveness of it. Simple answer. How do you get an athlete to change negative mindset? What happens when they won't, and how are they affected? Well, they're perpetually affected with a crappy attitude. Attitude is one of the things. It's one of the pillars that you have control over. Sad enough that athletes they have to learn it from a guy like me. But how do you get an athlete to change their negative mindset? I don't think it's necessarily the leaders' jobs as much as it is the culture in general. One of the things that my predecessors talked about, a good friend of mine, he was a mentor, passed away in 2001 from terminal brain cancer. He's a sports psych guy, mental coach. Famously worked with Cam Newton, Russell Wilson. He mentored me when I was at IMG, and then years later, just stayed in touch with him. Good friend. Anyway, when he was working with Alabama football and Saban and then Kirby Smart in Georgia, one of the things that they exponentially found was players' performance and results exponentially went down when they verbalized negative. So it's one thing to think negative, it's another thing when they verbalize it. So Saban had this kind of epiphany and brought it back to Trev. That was my mentor's name, Trevor, as well. And brought it back to him and said, what if we just quit saying stupid stuff out loud? What would change? What would be different? How would our culture be? How would our attitudes be? So long story short, Alabama and Georgia from about 2014 to 2020, about 7 years worth, they implemented you are not allowed to say stupid stuff out loud. And if so, every personnel on the team, including the athletic trainers, were authorized to call you out on your BS. It didn't matter if it was Jalen Hurts and he just gets up and he's about to say something, something's really stupid, really dumb. Didn't matter. That redshirt freshman over here, if he hears it, he has been deputized to hold Jalen Hurts accountable and be like, Jalen, I just heard you say that. You're an idiot. You can't say that. You're not allowed to say that. And Jalen in that moment was encouraged to change his mindset, change his thought. And here's the way Alabama handled it. They internally policed it from their players. So what happened at the top? The leadership, the coaches, they set the rule. They deputized everybody, and they said, everybody, this is the standard. Hold everybody to the standard. You are no longer allowed to say negative crap out loud. You're no longer allowed to have a crappy attitude. And if so, here's the consequences. Step one, you get combated by, again, somebody from within the team, the ranks. If that doesn't solve it,